This is a story called The Affair. Chris is a 46-year-old man who has been married to 34-year-old Tori for 9 years. The couple don't have any kids together, but Chris has two grown-up kids, Michael, aged 23, and Sarah, aged 21. Chris owns his own business and a very large estate, both of which are worth millions of pounds. When Tori first met Chris, she had nothing and she was homeless. Chris gave her a permanent job and somewhere to live, and they got married about 2 years later. Michael and Sarah didn't really like Tori, especially Michael. He strongly believed that she was only after his dad's money. Tori assured him that that wasn't the case, even though it was. One day, a man around the same age as Tori came to work for Chris as his bookkeeper. After the man, whose name was Simon, had been working for Chris for about a year, it came out that him and Tori had been having an affair almost since Simon started working for Chris. Chris caught them red-handed in the stables as they went to see if Tori wanted to go out for lunch. He said to them, "Simon, you are fired with immediate effect. Get off my land and off my property and don't come back. As for you, Tori, I want you to pack your bags and get out of my house immediately. I'll decide what to do with you later. Right now I have a lunch date with my kids and you are not welcome. When I come back I have a very important business meeting to attend. Make sure that you are gone by the time I get back, please." "Where am I supposed to go?" asked Tori. "I don't care where you go. I just want you out of my house and off my land by the time I get back," said Chris to Tori. "But Chris, I have nowhere to go," Tori told Chris. "I don't care where you go or what you do, as long as you are off. As long as you are gone when I get back," said Chris. "Chris, don't do this, please. I have nowhere to go," Tori said to Chris. "Like I care. Why don't you ask Loverboy here? I'm sure he'll be more than happy to accommodate you," said Chris as he got in his car. After that day, Chris started drinking really heavily, and he wouldn't eat for days. He barely slept and he was a complete mess. He told Tori that he wanted a divorce and that he would give her nothing, so not to expect anything. Sometime after this, Chris collapsed from a heart attack and was rushed to hospital. They told him that if he didn't slow down, cut back on alcohol and take better care of himself, the next heart attack could be fatal. This time he had a very lucky escape. Chris took their advice, and when he came out of hospital, he slowed down a bit and cut back on drinking. One day, Tori went to see Chris and told him that she wanted £50,000 and she'd be out of his life for good. Chris agreed to this and transferred the money into her bank account. However, a few months later, Tori came back and asked Chris to forgive her. Chris was still madly in love with Tori and he took her back straight away. The couple were planning to get married again. However, about a year after they got back together, Tori had another affair with their gardener, Nick. This time, Chris knew that Terry was up to no good, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he hired a private detective and installed CCTV all over the estate. He caught their every move on camera, and the detective took photos. However, Chris had another heart attack and this time he almost died. He had to be resuscitated. Tori acted like the wonderful, perfect wife to be by constantly visiting Chris during his time in hospital. However, when Tori wasn't at the hospital, she was in bed with Nick. Chris knew this because the private detective kept him informed. When Chris came out of hospital, he didn't let on to Charlie that he knew about her affair with Nick. He just sneaked into one of his cottages where Nick was living and caught them in bed together. However, by this time, Charlie was pregnant and no one was sure if the father was Nick or Chris. As they all came out of the cottage, Charlie suddenly bent over, saying she had a pain in her stomach and that she thought she was losing the baby. When Chris sat her down and no one was looking, Charlie smirked. Charlie was taken to hospital and checked over, and it turned out that she wasn't even pregnant. Chris told her, "You have now betrayed me 3 times. You are not going to betray me again. You are not going to betray, con or hurt me anymore. I want you to pack your bags and leave this house and get out of my life. I never ever want to see or hear from you again." "But what about the stables and the horses? They belong to me," said Charlie. "I think you'll find that I bought the horses and I paid for the stables to be built along with the outside paddock. Therefore you're not entitled to or having any of it," said Chris. "They're mine, they belong to me." "I love those horses, Chris," said Charlie. "They're not yours and they never were yours and you're not getting them. Now please get off my property before I call the police and have you arrested for trespassing," Chris told Charlie. Charlie left, but a few days later Chris received information that Charlie was planning to transport the horses to some new premises she'd found whilst he was away on business. When Chris heard about this, he cancelled his business trip and arranged for a friend to take the horses to his wife's stables. Then, when Charlie arrived with her horse box and found that the horses were gone, she was furious. Chris came out and said, "What are you doing here, Charlie? I told you to stay off my property. I want my horses and I'm not leaving here until I get them." "Where are they and what have you done with them?" said Charlie. "They're not your horses. I bought them, not you. Now get off my property. If you come back here I will have you arrested," said Chris. Charlie left, and after that Chris never saw or heard from him again. He had the horses brought back to his stables and hired family and friends who he trusted 100% to look after them. He did meet someone new eventually and they did get married. Chris heard rumours that Charlie had married a rich guy and that she was fleecing him for money without him knowing. He didn't care if the rumours were true or not because he was happy for the first time in years. The end. Thank you.